Welcome into the leadoff spot on MLB Network Radio, now live simulcast on MLB Network TV as well. Xavier Scruggs and Steve Phillips here with you this morning. We welcome all of you on board as well. All right, we always kick off the 9 o'clock hour by taking you around the bases and all the top stories of the day. So we start with the single, and that is the crosstown rivalry. The Cubs, White Sox going at it, the rubber game of the series. What a game it was, ending in dramatic fashion.
The pitch. Conforto swings, drills one deep in the air to center field. Acuna going back at the track. This one's gone! Michael Conforto ties the game! A 3-run home run to straightaway center field. 7-7 Cubs and Sox here in the ninth.
Tying run at third. Caro hits a fly ball out into deep left center field. It's back there. It is gone! Edgar Caro wins it!
Shut up! Yes!
You know, I think it's obviously great to win a big series, to win it at home and in front of the fans. At the same time, I think, this team believes in themselves, and, every time we are able to go out and do something like this, that belief grows. So in that sense, obviously a productive series.
You heard the Edgar Caro walk-off home run right there on White Sox Radio Network. Also, Will Venable, manager of the White Sox, talking about the confidence of this team and what we've seen for them. Now, ultimately, the Southsiders taking that series 2-3, but also they find themselves giving them the first series win over the National League Central leader since 2022. The energy in that stadium, Steve, and you could just feel the matchup brought a different atmosphere this year. And I love that we've seen the White Sox use the home run to their advantage, right? Ranked second to the Braves in the home run category. And what we saw from Edgar Caro and the excitement of him hitting the walk-off home run, 23 years old. I know he went to Driveline this offseason, try to get some swing things right. He had the last couple of days off and just had the chance to visualize what he wanted to do there. He didn't visualize a walk-off homer, but to see him ultimately contribute in that way, and somebody that hasn't played great, that's huge for the White Sox, but it's an example of what we've seen from them. Power on power on power, taking down the Chicago Cubs and taking the series.
What I found surprising was Len Casper, Darren Jackson sort of stole my call. When you're talking sometimes, I think to myself, shut up. And that was the home run call. Like, I love it. that
okay.
was
that's how he's kicking off, coming back to the show after being gone for a little bit, and now on TV you want to start like that. Okay, noted.
Can we play the home run call again? Like, this is like so real and authentic, a home run call, and so dramatic. And let's see if we can play that again, because that was awesome.
Infield in. Tying run at third. Caro hits a fly ball out into deep left center field. It's back there. It is gone! Edgar Caro wins it!
Shut up! Yes! The young man deserves it.
He is going to walk very slowly to home plate now. He touches the plate, and he's mobbed by his teammates. Unreal.
And also, like, he took off his helmet and rifled it right at all of his teammates standing around home plate right there. I mean, that was as authentic a call as anybody.
Yeah.
Like fans had to be screaming that in the stands the same way. That was awesome. Absolutely awesome. In fact, you can talk around the double the next time. I didn't mean for you to have to shut up for the whole segment as well. I just wanted to make sure you can chime back in.
Just stop. Just stop it right now.
Man.
Can I say one more thing about the White Sox?
I suppose.
Like,
go ahead.
How did they all miss out on? How did all these teams miss out on Murakami? I think what also we're seeing is the fact that Murakami has actually had this type of almost impact on the other players, the young players on this team, and that's why we've seen so much power. It's almost like, okay, when you get a middle of the order bat in which everybody else can feed off of, think about also the Cardinals, kind of the similar thing. Okay, now we actually have the middle of the order bat that other teams have to circle, boom, more opportunities for everybody. Miguel Vargas, been one of the best third basemen in baseball as far as OPS goes. It affects everybody. Colson Montgomery, everybody gets affected by a middle of the order bat that all 29 other teams missed out on.
Yeah, think about, to your point, Murakami's making everybody around him better. Colson Montgomery has homered in 8 games that Murakami has also homered in. That's the most by any duo in the first 45 games of a season in the history of baseball. And Vargas has homered with Montgomery and Murakami in 4 games. All 3 of them have homered. So it's pretty amazing what they've done there. And the rebuild is turning around quickly. And it's amazing how an aircraft carrier can make everybody in the lineup better. And that's really what Murakami is. And to your point, so many teams missed out thinking the swing and miss is going to be there. He's not going to be able to handle the high fastball. And he is certainly getting it done. All right, we round first, go to second with a double. And the Atlanta Braves just continue to roll, taking on the Red Sox. And one of the guys who's not been swinging the bat all that well is starting to heat up.
Mayo's 1-2. And Riley put the long stroke on it. Deep left field. That is gone. 3-run homer. Austin says, I got your answer for your drought with runners in scoring position. Belted it halfway up the bleachers. And it's 3-0 Braves in the first inning.
We know he's going to get really hot and take off. There's been spurts here and there, but he's going to start stringing it together, and he's going to take off.
Yastrzemski leads off, and Yastrzemski, it's a towering fly ball towards right, towards the corner, at the wall, gone! Mike just able to sneak it inside the pole, drop it into the first row of the chop outs. And that's his second, and both have come on this homestand. He's swinging a much better bat.
You heard the bombs there of Austin Riley and Mike Yastrzemski, also sound from Walt Weiss, manager of the Braves. And Steve, I want to go to what Riley mentioned about his own at-bats, because it's really what a hitter is thinking when they start to build a little bit of confidence. He said he stayed through the cutter. That was the 3-run bomb in the first inning. And what that means is I can stay on a pitch that has late life to it, moving away from me. And I don't feel like I have to go catch it out in front, but I can let it get deep. And I can keep my bat path on plane, staying through a baseball, hitting 2 baseballs out in front. That was a bomb. He could sit back, look at the bomb, watch it, and pimp it. Look at him right here. If you watch it on TV, he sees it goes deep. Then he mentioned the changeup he hit later on in the game, down the line. So being able to stay on pitches, different locations, different spots, different types of pitches, that tells you as a hitter, okay, my bat path is working correctly. My attack angle is working correctly. 4 hits yesterday. That, to me, is the most encouraging sign. I'm sorry, 2 hits yesterday, 3 RBIs, but the encouraging sign of being able to duplicate the swing. And when you look at the Braves, offensively, they have been hotter than anybody. And now you start to get Austin Riley and Mike Yastrzemski, who have both struggled. That lengthens out the lineup, helps guys like Grant Holmes, who had a good day yesterday, too.
Yeah, and for sure. So for Yastrzemski and Riley, they both have been struggling a little bit. It was only the second home run of the year for Yastrzemski, the second in the series against the Boston Red Sox. And so the length and depth of that lineup coming through, Yastrzemski reminds me of, he feels to the Braves like Nick Markakis did to the Braves back in the day. That sort of quiet, professional approach, just a guy who shows up every day, knows how to play, goes about his business the right way, can play offense and defense and get things done. And I think that as he starts to heat up a little bit, I thought he was a terrific signing for them this offseason. Remember, he went from San Francisco to Kansas City last year, and then the power numbers really started to break out. But it's been a little bit of a slow start for him. But if he can get it going, and Riley and Dom Smith just keeps on getting it done, too. An RBI hit up the middle for him yesterday in the DH role. Drake Baldwin, again, home run in that game. He's swinging the bat great. And boy, I tell you what, in the pitching, the Atlanta Braves have the best ERA in baseball right now. Like, I did not, with all the injuries that they had, I just didn't see that happening for them. But everybody in that rotation is dealing right now. And Alex Anthopoulos and Walt Weiss believed in their depth more than I really saw it after they lost Waldrop and Schwellenbach. And then Reynaldo Lopez had some injury issues and some struggles. I worried they had enough pitching, but they've got enough for sure.
Well, me and you had the conversation with Alex Anthopoulos during spring training, and just thinking about kind of the depth that he was talking about and almost looking at like, yeah, but is that going to be enough? And is your offense going to perform to historic levels like we saw previously? And they're getting back to doing that. You said Drake Baldwin, probably the most underrated hitter in the game right now. What he's doing, taking his rookie of the year level to another level. So everybody in that offense, and then Chris Sale. I tell people he's the most dangerous pitcher I ever faced because he can sit 98, which he's still doing now at 37 years old, but now he leans more on the slider. He can throw about 50% of the time. Most devastating stuff I've ever seen personally.
Yeah, there's no question. I know this. I would be bailing like a son of a gun as a left-handed hitter with Chris Sale, with the ball coming from right field with that low release point. Yeah, it's scary for sure. All right, round second, go to third with the triple. In the Subway Series, the Mets and Yankees going at it. And I got to tell you, this was an unbelievable game. Drama for sure, the rubber game of the series, and Mets fans celebrating in the face of Yankees fans.
First pitch, breaking ball hit deep to left field. It's down the line. It's hooking. It is a home run. Tie game! Tie game! Tyrone Taylor tucks it just inside the foul pole, down the left field line. It's a 3-run homer. The Mets have tied it.
Chopper over the mound toward the middle of the infield. Runner coming home. There's no play. Simeon scores. Game over. The Maine Mets, one comeback at a time, have won the series. They win this one in 10, 7-6.
We're professionals here, and we got the ability to, turn the page. But yeah, there's definitely some momentum, especially for some of the guys they've been going through a rough stretch. Whether it's a Tyrone Taylor, Sean Manaea today. It was even though it wasn't pretty when he first got in the game.
You heard a sound there from Carlos Mendoza, Mets manager, and you're seeing they're playing much better in May if you're watching on MLB Network. I just got to say this, though. From Alonso's home run, going back to the wild card series back in 2024 off of Devin Williams when he went opposite field biscuit with 2 strikes, until Sunday, the Mets had lost 96 consecutive games when trailing after 8 innings, including the postseason. And the beginning of this game didn't look great, but what Tyrone Taylor did in that 9th inning, when he went biscuit, like big time 3-run, 404 feet, you saw him sit there after he hit the ball 104 miles an hour. Those are the types of swings that you're looking at to build the confidence of a team that really struggled in the beginning of the season. And a lot of it has been that young injection of energy too. I look at Ewing, even in the bottom of the 10th inning, laying down a bunt, doing all the little things to move the runner over, give Carson Bench an opportunity to hit something in the middle of the infield. You get the Yankees, Jazz and Volpe coming together, and it gives them the opportunity to win the game. So just the young players plus this confidence of coming back late, which they have not done in a long time, looks like a different Mets team that's starting to go for Carlos Mendoza.
Yeah, I think this is the kind of game the Mets would have lost earlier this year. When they were in that losing streak, whenever they would make a mistake, it would be like, oh, that's the thing that's going to cost us the game today. And they had that thing over the last couple of days. On Saturday, you had the drop fly ball by Brett Beatty in right field. Then yesterday, they gave up 4 runs on 1 hit in the 6th inning. 4 runs on 1 hit. You had walks, you had the hit by pitch, you had a bloop into the outfield that Bo Bichette was backpedaling on and Tyrone Taylor didn't call him off on. Tyrone Taylor throwing to the wrong base. And so they had some flaws. They had some mistakes, but they have found their heart. This team, they have 7 comeback wins of the 10 wins they have in the month of May. They're 10-5 right now. And it's so interesting because, we've talked about how the Phillies made the managerial change with Don Mattingly coming in. and how it turned their fate around, and they're starting to play better baseball. And for the Mets, it was ownership and David Stearns coming out and saying, we're not making a managerial change. And the players stopped waiting for something to happen and decided we need to make something happen. And to be able to overcome mistakes and to pick each other up is such an attribute for a team. And remember, back in 24, when the Mets did go to the NLCS and lost to the Dodgers in 7 games, I guess it was 6 games, but they lost that series. They were in a dire straits in the end of May, and they were actually in a worse position then than they are right now. Now, I don't know that they have the same horses in the rotation that they had that year. I don't know that they're going to have the same consistency with it. But with 4 position players out, with Senga out in the rotation, to be 10-5 in the month of May is pretty shocking to me so far, and it's a good thing for the Mets and their fans.
Well, I think it's a great thing that they have the fight. That's the one thing that you're looking at. I appreciate Carlos Mendoza. You know, he's always been very honest about they've needed to play better. And even after yesterday's game, still, it's important for him to make that statement of they still got to play better. You mentioned some of the mistakes in the middle of the game. One of my concerns, and I think it's going to be a point of emphasis watching forward, is what does Freddie Peralta give them? Because, again, couldn't get past 15 outs yesterday. You need him going deeper into ball games, especially with some other guys out. Clay Holmes will now be out for a couple months, you know, with the knee issue. And he was probably one of their most consistent starters at a 2.93 ERA. So you need Freddie Peralta, who was traded over to this team, to start acting more like the ace. And that's going to help them from a whole impact standpoint from a pitching. You mentioned Senga, too. Those are – if they don't get Freddie Peralta being that dog, it's going to be hard for them to come up out of that cellar.
Yeah, the Holmes injury is a devastating one. He's been their best pitcher, and Carlos Mendoza said it just felt different once we heard that, because it felt like we've got some momentum, and now this, right? Just when we feel like maybe we got things going, yet they bounced back yesterday and get it done even after the news there. And so good for the Mets. And the bragging rights in New York, it's a big thing, man. It is, having been there, it doesn't matter if the Mets don't make the playoffs. I mean, it does. But if you don't, if you beat the Yankees, there is some silver lining in that for sure. All right, you're on third, head home for the home run. And we mentioned the Philadelphia Phillies. They continue to play some great baseball under Don Mattingly, and the big bats breaking it out in a big way.
1-0, swing and a high drive, center field. Mangum drifting back to the track, nearing the wall. He jumps, he's out of room. It's into the Phillies bullpen, and Bryce Harper with his 12th home run of the season. He's gone deep off of Paul Skeens, and the Phillies with a 3-0 lead. 0-1 pitch. A little pop-up near third, Bohm backing up onto the grass. He makes the catch, and the Phillies have swept the Pittsburgh Pirates with back-to-back shutout wins as they get back over the 500 mark.
Yeah, I mean, I think as a team, we can't do that right now. I mean, you don't want to do that ever. But absolutely right now, you know, we're just a game above 500 right now. Obviously, we're playing good baseball, but, you know, Skeens is one of the best in baseball. I mean, he's been one of the best since he's got here. So what a challenge, what an opportunity for us to go out there and face him today. And I thought as a team, as a whole, we did a great job, you know, kind of wearing him down.
You heard sound there from Bryce Harper of the Phillies. And yes, when you're facing Paul Skeens, 2 things need to happen. One, you've got to find a way to see more pitches and try to get to him by wearing him down, and hopefully he makes a mistake. We saw that in the 5th inning, the 6th inning as well. Bryce Harper was able to go backside bomb left center, which when he's going there, he's about as good as anybody. His 12th home run of the season. Want to see more of that, because that's a difference maker for them. The second thing is you've got to have somebody match his energy from a pitching standpoint on your side. That's exactly what Zach Wheeler did. He was a touch up in velocity yesterday as well, hitting 97, 98 consistently. So it was good to see Zach Wheeler give them another good start. Remember, Christopher Sanchez gave them a great start, going shutout CG on Saturday, and Wheeler coming back with his own great start too on Sunday. So a nice job of the Phillies being able to shut down the Pirates 2 days in a row.
Yeah, I think that the Wheeler part of this, he looked like Zach Wheeler again, which is the amazing thing. And getting the swing and miss, 98 pitches, going 7 innings. And that's the other thing about the Phillies rotation. They have played over the last several years with Rob Thompson as manager, old school baseball, where their starters go deeper than any other team, right? They log more innings than any other team. And we talked about the Mets didn't make a managerial change and they're starting to play better, but they had made the statement, we're not changing managers, so stop waiting around for a fresh start. This is who we are. Go out there and play. And I think that the one thing I really think was the right move for the Phillies was Rob Thompson was a steady, even keel. He's not an angry, cheerleading, yelling, vocal guy. He just was that even keel guy. And Don Mattingly is the same. And oftentimes when we change managers as general managers, we go from the even keel guy to the fiery guy, or from the fiery guy to the even keel guy, thinking that we need something different. The players on the Phillies are hard enough on themselves. You could tell they weren't smiling. They were miserable. And they were beating themselves up, and they didn't need somebody to come in and beat them up even more to get them going. And so I really appreciate the decision for Don Mattingly to be that guy coming in. And the players now have taken back that team, and the leaders are getting it done. Now, we do have a text message from Jay in Philadelphia, X, and I want to get your thoughts on this. With the Phillies, we've seen what Harper and Schwarber can do, but how sustainable is the offensive production we're seeing from Marsh and Stott? And I'll throw in Alec Boehm as well. How sustainable do you think that additional production can be?
Well, I think, first of all, Stott hasn't really performed offensively the way you want. Yesterday was almost an exception as far as getting a swing that he was able to drive in a few in the gap. He hasn't been great. And the same thing goes for Boehm. Like, they're still waiting on production for Boehm. Now, Marsh, he's been on a different level as far as collecting hits and hitting for average. So I look at it as like they can still get better offensively. Adolis Garcia, like that's another one of those names where it's like, okay, we need offensive production from him, power support there. So with all that being said, I think those players can still take it to another level. But the focal point is always Schwarber, Harper, and Turner. And until Harper was able to get it going, they weren't going to win games consistently. Yeah, Schwarber, we know he's going to do his thing, second at MVP voting last year, but we were questioning Harper's eliteness this offseason, his own president of operations questioning that. So now that we've seen him get back to some of those numbers, swing the bat in which you expect him to, it's a different offense.
Yeah, and the Phillies playing some great baseball right now, and a dramatic turnaround for them, right? 15-4 in their last 19 games. They were 10 games under 500. Now they're a game over 500, and it feels like they're back into the mix right now, playing Phillies kind of baseball as well. And Phillies fans have to be ecstatic about the dramatic turnaround on getting back into that playoff race. All right, the LA Dodgers have continued to play some good baseball, but they got some outstanding performances over the weekend, including their start yesterday that they've been waiting for a while. We'll tell you about that next in the leadoff spot on MLB Network Radio and live on TV.